Well, hello knitting friend. Long time no see. Well, actually, if you are a podcaster that I follow, I probably have seen you quite a few times over the past months, but life happens, and unfortunately this year there have been some things that happened that kind of first stopped the knitting and then also at the same time the podcasting. So I normally don't say much about anything that's going around behind the scenes, but I think this time I will have a small part at the end where I tell a bit about what this year has been about, particularly because it involves other knitters. So, but I'll keep this mainly 90% about yarn and yarny stuff, safe place, and only if you want to, you can listen to some private stuff at the end. But you're warmly welcome. I love it that you're here and you found this knitting nook from Finland, Tampere. My name is Leena and I have I remember to do this. I did not remember to do this for the Finnish one. I have 3 Finnish objects this time, FOs. I have 2 WIPs, 2.5, and they are Monochrome, Call of the North, Buttercup, the Finnish objects, and then on the needles I have Hinterland, and then Ranunculus, and then all kinds of yarny stuff. I have been thinking every time that I look at other people's podcasts that I should remember to say in the beginning what kinds of things I'm going to talk about, so the people, if they're interested, they can follow through, and if they're not, they can go away to another channel. Hey, I remembered. So now, if none of these are interesting, you can choose differently too. Okay, I really want to start with the one that I have on me, particularly since I know already from the Finnish one, I need to get up and show this to you. This is Monochrome. I have shown a picture, just kind of drew an image of it in my earlier podcast. My latest episode was from January this year, so this has been quite a while ago that I've shown this image. But hey, here it is in real life. It is, as mentioned, is this hitting the screen? Monochrome pullover by Katrin Schneider. And it's an interesting one. I really want to show this to you because, let me turn this to the corner. Whee! So you can see me with the sweater on. Because, look at this. It's really long, so it's really better for me when I'm, for example, I work so that I stand all day and I can wear my own outfits because I work at home office or I go to the office, I can wear this. It's not that dressed up or anything. And I stand all day. So I think this is great length for that. It's roomy. I've not washed it, and I've not even soaked it. So it's a bit baggy, but I like it because it's comfy and warm. And it's an interesting construction because it's you begin it from here. And then you work towards the neckline. And then afterwards, when you're done with the top, from these orange lines up, then you pick it up. I don't remember if in the pattern it tells you to start with a provisional cast on so that you have, you leave it on a cable or something, but that's what I did. So then you do the sleeves and you do the body. I found it quite cumbersome to start from here because you have, immediately when you start, you also have 2 colors starting, and then you have the really long circumference where you have also the sleeves and everything on it. So I found it kind of unnecessary to have all that tangling to begin with. So I would start it from the top and work my way down. But other than that, I really like it. I don't remember if the pattern already has the short rows, but that's what I did to the back of the neck and a bit below also the stripes when I go down. And yeah, it's far better when I'm standing up. So when I sit down, it's all, but it's warm and cozy. Okay, let me adjust the camera. But hey, so about this yarn, I made this from, I think you call it Gilliatt. It's 250 meters in 100 grams, and it's 100% wool, and it's really this kind of plumb, but it seems really, even though it's soft, it seems durable, and it doesn't pill hardly at all. I've been wearing this shirt quite a bit last winter, and I already have more of this yarn for Lumme by Sari Nordlund. I think I've shown that as my dream knitting too last year, so you'll see it at some point on my needles if you come back. Okay, another one, which is my another kind of, this is real dream knitting. This sweater is Call of the North, or in Finnish, Pohjolan Kutsu. And it is by Sisko Sälpäkivi, with the dots above the A's, Sälpäkivi. And this sweater was something that I looked at the pictures of other people making it for a long time. I wanted to make my own. I was always kind of thinking that one day I will have this, because it calls for 8 different colors, or 7, maybe 8. And I always thought that once I have enough leftovers or kind of, that I will make it then. Then at some point I realized, first of all, I want to know better how the actual 100% finished sheep wool, how it feels when you're knitting it, how does it feel when you're wearing it. I know it's durable and soft and everything, but I really wanted to test that for a bigger project. So I went and I ordered from a Finnish online store, Kassapuoti. I ordered this yarn. I showed it to you sometime last winter, but it has these wonderful skeins of different color, and they're just gorgeous. And let me show you the label. This yarn is Lieko, and it is from Kehrätär. That is the name of the yarn if you want to, for example, go to Ravelry and try and search for it. And they also sell it directly. So there is their details. And for me, I find it really hard to mix colors. I can't see ahead of the time how the end result is going to look like. And I don't know what is high contrast and what is low contrast when I'm looking at 2 different colors next to one another. And I always think I can kind of see if I like the mix of the colors, if it's kind of nice to my eye. But then I don't know if I put this on this, if it's really if it has contrast enough to show up, to kind of pop up from there. And I had seen people making these so that they had always this, for example, this vein, that it would be always the same colors, and then the flower would be always the same colors. And what I did, I totally just changed it. So here the flowers are on the blue, here they are on the gray, and then, for example, on the sleeve they're on the red. So I really like that blue and gray. I think I lucked out in many cases, because I really like the end product. But and now that I have this sample, to call it a sample, because I still have about 300 grams of this yarn left. I had 800 grams for this sweater, and I still have 300 grams of all of these colors all together. And now I can see from this sweater which one goes with which. Does that make sense? So that I can do something else. I have a couple of the colors I have extra skeins of. But so maybe I can make another sweater. I didn't modify too much, but I did make some short rows at the top again. So this is the back side, and you may see that it has quite a bit of red after the ribbing before the next pattern part starts, and in the front there's not that much, so it makes the backside a bit higher. Can you see it? Backside a bit higher and lowers the neckline so that it's more comfortable. And yeah, this is so warm. This is like uber warm, 100% Finnish wool, sheep wool. So I really am going to get a lot of nice moments with that sweater. Mushroom picking in the fall, or just, you know, maybe also in the home office. I've already worn it once. I was so cold. I just, you know, I was like, I need to have some warmth. Another then finished object, not so much finished, but finished, is this. And this one is the Buttercup. Buttercup by Heidi Kirrmaier. And this also can be found in Ravelry. And I started, it's like a summer tee. I started this already more than a year ago. And it has this lace at the neckline. And it's hard to see what you see. And then it has nice edging at the sleeves in the pattern. And then I made it a bit kind of like A-line or even more at the hemline before it, so that it kind of got wider. And then it has a bit of a lace at the end. I don't think showing it like this gives it any you don't see it very well, so I'll insert a couple of pictures here. What my problem with this kind of, because I'll show you the yarn. It's this, you probably know this, it's blend bamboo, which is 70% bamboo and 30% cotton. There's 150 meters in 50 grams, so 300 meters in 100 grams. So it's like a sport weight. And for these kind of cotton blends, I always find it that they're drapey, but they show all parts of me. If I wear something like this at home, it's fine. But then, for example, this summer it was very hot, and then you're wearing it at home, and then you kind of leave for the grocery store quickly, and you don't even realize that you're wearing something like this. And then you go to the grocery store or supermarket, and you see yourself from a mirror, and then you can see the lines of your, I mean, you can't see it through, but it just kind of shows every nook and crane of your body, so that you can see where your undergarments are and everything. So I don't know, do you find it the same with cotton yarns or cotton blends? Or am I just choosing, I don't know, wrong yarn for wrong pattern? Or, you know, the pattern is right, but the yarn is wrong, or the yarn is right, but the pattern is wrong, or what should I do? I think it's particularly this kind of just stockinette that kind of shows everything. But I don't think the lace would be a good option either, because then it's kind of see-through. I don't know. I like the feel of it. I like how it's really cool, and I really, really enjoyed wearing it in the summer. Okay. FO. But hey, 8 months, so not a surprise, is it? Okay, then I want to show you this, which is, I'm going to try and get it out without tangling it too much. This is Hinterland by Jennifer Steingass, and I've made her arboreal, we say in Finnish. I don't know how you're supposed to say that in English. Arboreal. But it has those leaves on it, like arbor refers, I believe, to a tree. But this one is Hinterland, and I just can't put this down. Look at this. It has, even the backside is beautiful. My son says that I should have it this way, because it's like these beautiful color changes that you can see here. But I really like the actual right side of it. Let me put it in the way that, because it started from, it's top down. So this is kind of the neckline. And then you see this kind of like trees that are starting from under the sky. So there's like, and I happen to be lucky enough to have these kind of blue things at the top. So they're like stars in the winter sky. And then there's these trees underneath, and then it grows. I really, really like it. Apparently I'm saying really, really a lot today. A really, really lot. I'll try to change it. But, so for the main color, I am using the thinnest Icelandic Istex yarn, Lopi yarn Einband. It has, for 50 grams, it has 250 meters, 273 yards, which makes it 500 meters for 100 grams, or 550 yards for 100 grams. So that's really thin yarn. Is it like lace weight? I don't know. At least, you know, fine fingering. And then for the pop-up, for the trees and everything, I'm using Hjertegarn LongColors, which is this kind of yarn that has these long color changes. The red is a bit more red in the camera than it is here, so it's more kind of towards something like lilac red. I don't know if you can see it better somewhere further out, but it's pretty much what it is. Enjoying this a lot. And then I promised, another Ranunculus. So many people have knitted Ranunculus. What I was surprised about now this time, I've knit 3 or 4 Ranunculus before. Love them. I've made them from different yarns, and they're, if you make them from mohair, if you make them short sleeve, like 2/3 long sleeve, if you use the turn that she has for the elbow or not, if you make it with thinner yarn, thicker yarn, bigger needles, smaller needles, it's always different. It's always a different shirt, different sweater. And this one is quite interesting because I found this really cheap yarn. This yarn was less than €1, something like 79 cents in the local yarn store. And it's from Gomitoli, Italy. But it's not the yarn that it says on the yarn band, because there had been some kind of a goof up, and apparently, because when I Google this and look at the website of this company, the name of the yarn would call for a totally different fiber. And here they have put a Finnish sticker on it that says it's 80% wool and 20% polyamide, but it was totally something else on their website. So there has been something that happened when they were making this yarn, and there's a wrong label on it, and you can feel it. It's like it's like cotton but not, it's woolly but not, and it kind of like this paper kind of feel to it. So unfortunately I can't really tell you what this actually is, because wrong band. But I really like, it didn't say really, just said really. So I truly enjoy this pattern always. So, and I was gonna say, what I was surprised about this time that I picked this pattern up is that the designer keeps adding to the pattern new instructions about different parts of the pattern, new videos about how to make different sections, all kinds of tips, and the pattern now is, I don't know how many pages long. And this is truly a simple knit. Once you start it and you follow the instructions, once you get past the cast on, the yoke is so enjoyable, and it is one of the easiest sweaters to knit, in my opinion, because once you do the yoke part, you also at the same time increase, and you suddenly are at the sleeves, and you just leave the stitches on the sleeves, and you continue with the body, and depending on what construction you want for the sleeves, and you follow that in the pattern. And it's really quick, and I think I'm making it with 5mm, even 6mm needles. So it's just flying off the needles. I'm thinking that once I get this one done, I would have this kind of ranunculus episode because they are so different, each of them. When you have one from one yarn and another one from different yarn, and you have like a mohair and another yarn held double and so forth. So I thought that I will make this, how does ranunculus look when made from different yarns? And when it's short sleeve, and when it's longer body and shorter body and whatnot. So that's on my needles. This is nice because I can pick it up anytime and keep on knitting, and the Hinterland requires a bit of concentration and looking at the pattern and all of that. So, and of course I could not make any color work, Hinterland or other, without my wonderful Finnish jeweler Lankapiika. I can link it below. It is this kind of open construction ring where you can adjust it to your. It has different sizes. You can buy it in different sizes, but I don't know if you can see that it's not fully closed as a circle. So according to weather, you can always adjust it. It's silver, so durable, nice, not sweaty, stays in place and everything. Also the yarn stay in place because the slits for the yarn are very narrow. Kudos. I'm so glad I got this far. It's been, well, those of you who do make podcasts, and thank you for making them. I thoroughly enjoy watching them. I got really behind last winter, in the spring and in the summer. So at the end of the summer, I've been watching some of the all of the podcasts that I follow, but I did not catch up with everything that had been posted in between. So I mainly picked up the latest episodes of various podcasters because, yeah, going back for 6 months of podcasts, I would need to have no job to do that. But yeah. But hey, this was all about the knitting. Maybe I can show this still. This is a project bag that I found. We were visiting my sister in Denmark, and I found this from a local store. It has this like a fabric. It has like a small sock project here inside. But it has this fabric that you can close at the top. And it's such a nice size to just pick up and carry with me anywhere. I can drop my phone in there and my wallet in there with the sock project, and just I went for a couple of like events in the summer where I just had that on the phone and the wallet in there, and had a knitting basket with me. Looked like a knitter from far away. But hey, if you came here for yarn stuff and all of these projects, thank you so much for visiting this far, and I hope you have a wonderful fall, and see you next time. And for those of you who want to hang around for another few minutes for some greetings, you're welcome to stay for a bit more. Okay, so I will keep these podcasts, as said, concentrated into knitting. And I think it's a good way to have these knitting podcasts where I know when I'm looking at a podcast that when I want to just see knitting and instructions and whatnot, it's exactly what I'm getting when I'm pushing the button. So, but this year has been very much different. Last year, or in January, at the beginning of the year, I thought, okay, another year has begun, and we have seemed like it's another wave of COVID hitting us again. And then we started hearing really bad news from Ukraine, and between February and March, we all know that the war in Ukraine started, and Russia started the invasion. And we have friends in Ukraine, and we were of course worried about them. My husband has a few friends through his work from years back, and they're mainly guys who come to Finland 2 times a year, 3 times a year for their work, and it's been wonderful to see them every now and then. But of course, we were concerned about them and their families, and a few days into the war, they let us know that they needed help. They needed to have their wives and sisters and whatnot, relatives out from there to get them to the safety. And we would have not been able to do much with our own income and whatnot, so we have really received a lot of help from friends and relatives, and from Finland, but also from overseas. And I can't thank everyone enough for everything that you've done for us to be able to do what little we did. And we had a few Ukrainian ladies, wonderful ladies that we had never met before. And we were so worried if they could make it here. My husband went to Lithuania to meet them and pick them up and bring them here. And then Ukrainians that that we were really worried that if they could even get across the border, and they had some true troubles to get to cross the border from Ukrainian side in safety to come to the other countries, and he picked them up from Ukrainian border at Poland and brought them to Finland, or drove with them to Finland, and then what happened was that the ladies that were staying with us, particularly a couple of them, Alina and Anja. Hi, Alina and Anja. Familiar background. I miss you. Alina came to me one day, and she had been translating Ukrainian words into Finnish, and came to talk to me in the living room and said, "Would you kindly teach me how to knit?" Wouldn't I? I was so glad. We dove into the yarn stash, and hey, this is why people have yarn stash, to have these moments where you can just dive in there and find motivating colors and fibers and thick or thin enough yarn for different kinds of projects. And Alina chose a hat project, and she learned so quick. She's very talented, and she started with the hats. There were rows of knitting, like stockinette, and then there were rows of purling, and then she moved on after the hat to a scarf, like this long straight scarf with stripes, and then socks. And I had to go for deployment for Red Cross. I was not home for about a month, and the Ukrainian ladies kept my family fed, I bet. They were such chefs in the kitchen, and professional baker, one of them, Anja. So I know that they have helped us a lot too to keep this family going last spring. And while I was gone, they continued knitting. Alina was making socks. And before I left, then Anja said that if she ever starts knitting socks, she would like to start with this Hipsulaisen carousel socks. The ones that you start from the heel and they go around and around and around, and it's a different construction. It's a totally different sock. And I'll link it below. It's and put a name here. It's quite cumbersome to begin, because even for an advanced knitter, because at the beginning you're really picking up a few stitches, or casting on a few stitches, and then you start making like these 6 wedges, and you have like 6 needles, 6 DPNs on it, and then you have 1 working needle. So you're working with 7 needles. But she was really determined, and she wanted to do that, and she beautifully did that, and started finishing those carousel socks in no time, and sending her friends photos. Ukrainian ladies were saying, "Oh, we want our own too," and she was making many pairs. So Anja also got really hooked up into knitting. And then I think it was the midsummer week, or maybe before that, I said that I think you ladies have been knitting enough socks and shown how talented you are, and by that amount of knitting you're so capable of making sweaters that you should pick up a sweater project. And that's what they did. They chose patterns from this Novita yoke sweater pattern book, and we dove back into the yarn stash, and we also went to the local yarn store a couple times, and then they began their sweaters, top down sweaters. And last week I received a photo from Anja. She has finished her first sweater. Alina is also well on her way of making hers. She has a good start on it. So colorwork sweaters for a first sweater, I think that's quite impressive, isn't it? But yeah, they're talented. And also we have ladies who came to us only for a few days, each of them, and then we just did some stuff locally here to get them authorized for the country, staying in Finland and getting the refugee status, and did small things like that for a few days, and then they moved onwards to wonderful places that also, big thanks to lots of our friends in different parts of Finland, have offered their homes, places to live. And one of these ladies that was here for only a few days, she had been knitting before, and she wanted to knit immediately when she came, and she knit a sock already during the few days that she was here. And then when she went onwards, she is staying close to other ladies and children that we know that went through here, and she had taught them how to knit. And now we've received these photos where they're sitting together, even with the children, and everybody's showing their sock projects that they're knitting. So, fellow knitters, dear knitters, there you probably can say that, you know, congratulations to these wonderful Ukrainian ladies that in the middle of all of this, in the middle of the situations that they're in, they're really also making a lot of efforts. Of course, they're working. Some of them have found jobs in Finland. They're really working hard. Some of these ladies went to pick up strawberries in the summer for a few weeks, and any Finn knows how tough that job is to get your money from. And some of them are looking for jobs. So, and also they're finding these. They're learning Finnish. They're finding their way in Finland, and seriously, just. Of course, everybody is really looking forward to having peace in Ukraine and all of this, to stop the war and to get peace back into to Ukraine, and have people the opportunity to return home and rebuild. So, but huge thanks to everyone who has helped. Warm greetings and thanks to all the Ukrainians that have touched our lives this year. We really feel like we have a bigger family. Our family has grown with about a dozen Ukrainians, and we love it. And we keep knitting, and we keep bringing joy and warmth to the communities that we're in. So that's what we do. Okay. I don't know. I was supposed to probably say lots of other things too, but truly, I just wish you all have access to wool, can either hold it or watch it or smell it or get other kinds of comfort from it. Winter is coming. Keep on knitting, and let's make things warm and cozy for everyone. Thank you so much for visiting, and I hope you have as good of a September as it can be, and hope things are well, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!